Agenda item 5B is the request for a use permit to allow alcohol beverage sales in conjunction with the restaurant expansion and a parking exception to allow conversion from a retail establishment to a restaurant without providing additional parking per Chapter 1296 120C12 and 12100 120 of the San Bruno Municipal Code. Staff report, please.
Thank you and good evening. As stated, the applicant has applied for a use permit and parking exception to expand Cleo's Brazilian Steakhouse into the vacant storefront located directly to the south at 442 San Mateo Avenue. This project requires a use permit for alcohol sales in conjunction with the restaurant expansion and a parking exception to convert retail space into restaurant space without providing additional parking. Prior to getting into the specifics of the proposal before us tonight, I just want to go into a brief history regarding Cleo's Brazilian Steakhouse. As you'll recall, Cleo's was once located on El Camino Real, and in 2009, Cleo's relocated from their El Camino Real location to their current downtown location at 446 San Mateo Avenue. At that time, the Planning Commission approved a use permit request to serve alcoholic beverages in conjunction with that restaurant and a parking exception. A year later, in 2010, the Architectural Review Committee approved modifications to the exterior of the existing structure at 446 San Mateo Avenue. Those improvements included new granite tiles for the entire storefront, a brand new sign, a new window feature, and new paint for the entire sides and rear of the building. Due to the recent success of the restaurant, the applicant is now proposing to expand into the existing building located to the south at 442 San Mateo Avenue. The overall goal of the expansion is to gain additional seating to accommodate larger parties. As it stands right now, Cleo's doesn't have the space to accommodate larger parties for birthday celebrations, anniversary celebrations, or any kind of special event. This will allow him to do so, and it will also allow him to accommodate those smaller parties. One thing that makes this project somewhat unique is that the building at 442 San Mateo Avenue is on a separate parcel and is under separate property ownership. The building code does not permit openings at the property line. However, the building official has reviewed the request and has placed the custom condition of approval requiring automatic fire doors at all openings at the property line. The use permit request for alcohol sales is required. Staff did route this to the police department. The police department did not have any concerns with this proposal, and they have placed the standard conditions of approval on the project. Additionally, they noted that they have not received any alcohol-related complaints at the existing restaurant at 446 San Mateo Avenue. I'd like to point your attention to condition of approval number 11, which does permit the community development director to call the project back to the Planning Commission if the business is not complying with the performance standards or conditions of approval. Regarding parking, the proposed restaurant expansion requires 38 more parking spaces than the previous retail use. There is no possible way to create parking on site as the existing business covers the entire site. As a result, staff did conduct a parking analysis for 4 adjacent parking lots, and these specific parking lots were chosen due to their specific location and their close proximity to the subject site. Within the overall parking study area, there's 152 parking spaces, and we did actually conduct counts during weekday lunch and weekday dinner hours. When combining the overall parking area, the occupancy rate was 61% during weekday lunch hours and 69% during weekday dinner hours. So the results essentially state that there is enough parking to support the proposed restaurant expansion. Additionally, this is less than the 85% threshold that staff considers when determining if an area is parking impacted. I'd also like to point out that the Architectural Review Committee approved exterior changes to the structure at 442 San Mateo Avenue at last week's meeting. Those changes involve granite tiles for 442 San Mateo Avenue. Specifically, the light tan tiles will be continued, and the black granite tiles will also be continued. The awning feature will also be expanded in the south, to the south, and new paint is also proposed for the front, sides, and rear of the building. Overall, staff is supportive of the project. We do find that the restaurant expansion will be a positive addition to the San Mateo Avenue, and we would recommend that the Planning Commission approve the use permit and parking exception request, subject to the conditions of approval and findings of facts 1 through 7. I'm available to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Are there any questions for Matt? Okay, thank you.
Through the chair.
Yes, Commissioner.
On the staff report, page 3, under analysis, the second sentence says the expansion is necessary as the business has been very successful and gained popularity over the last few years. Is that an excerpt of from the business owner's application?
Correct. This is based off conversations with the applicant and the applicant's support statement, which is included as Exhibit E within the staff report.
I'm thinking this will pass, and in any case, I'd like to ask if you would make a modification to the report indicating that is an excerpt from the application, because it's not really an analysis by the staff. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Is the applicant here? Could you take the podium and state your name, and street address, and tell us about your project?
Hi, good evening. Cleos side the beginning of the recession have been lost almost 45% of the business. After we moved to the San Mateo Avenue, I'm able to bring back about 30% of this business, and we still have a lot of people calling, asking for a private dining area for a large part, like 50, 60 people, and we now have this private look space, and this is the main reason we try to get the space approval for the business.
Are there any questions for the applicant? Thank you. You can take your seat. We'll open up public comment. If there are any members of the public that would like to speak on this agenda item, seeing none, public comment is now closed. Planning Commission discussion?
Through the chair.
Commissioner?
I'd like to make a motion that the Commission approve use permit 12-4 and parking exception 12-1 based on findings of fact 1 through 7 and conditions of approval 1 through 35.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. There's a 10-day appeal period.